Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Inner Circle. Georgia. I'm gonna redo it. Give me a second. My brain started thinking of the rant instead of doing the intro first. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of the Inner Circle. I'm your host, managing editor Clayton Franklin, with a co-host.
AJ Hall.
Beautiful. This is the show where we talk about all sorts of nonsense, mostly movie related. But you know what? I can't take it. This isn't my normal environment. I don't know where I'm at. I'm in this tiny box. What is this? What is this little box I'm in? This doesn't feel right. It's odd. It's odd. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm getting out of here. So
Freddy versus Jason.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is a big guilty pleasure of mine. I love this movie
Really.
with a passion. Yeah. Like, okay, so growing up, a little backstory. The Friday the 13th movies like always fascinated me because like I always wondered where the guy with the hockey mask like got popular and where is that from. And then I found out through YouTube because I saw trailers and stuff. And when I tried to finally sit down and watch them, my parents, they knew about those movies and what they're known for. They were like, no. And so eventually, I ended up disobeying them and torrenting them for myself as a kid. So I watched them all, and then I heard about Freddy versus Jason, which was like the continuation where all of the other Friday the 13th left off. So I sat down and watched that. And I'm like, ooh, who's this Freddy guy? So then I went back and watched Nightmare on Elm Street, and then I finally understood. And I'm like, oh, this is epic. I wish I saw this when it came out in theaters.
That's interesting. I have the opposite experience with it. I don't remember how old I was exactly, but I remember my dad's like, "Hey, you want to watch this cool thing? Dude in the mask like just rips people apart." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty cool." So, me as a younger kid, I watched a lot of Friday the 13th. I never really watched the the Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Never really watched Nightmare on Elm Street because I think my dad just didn't like it as much, so I didn't have as much exposure to it. But of course, I saw like the first couple of them. And one day when I was like middle school, I think I don't remember where, how, but I saw like Freddy versus Jason, and I didn't even think it was real. It sounded like internet fan fiction, and I'm like, that's dumb. And then I disappeared from it for a long time, and then one day I'm sitting at home like I'm doing now, flipping through the TV channels. I saw Freddy versus Jason. I went, what? So I clicked it and I watched it, and nothing's been the same ever since.
Yeah, once you see Freddy versus Jason, you're kind of left wanting, and either you're wanting a better movie, or you're wanting a sequel. And I'm the person that wants a sequel.
I want a sequel, and I want it to be just as campy and cheesy and corny as the first one.
Yeah, but so on that topic, all of these movies are campy and cheesy. All of them are campy
Yeah.
and cheesy. Some are better than others, but when they went to make Freddy versus Jason, they knew exactly their audience and what they wanted, and they delivered. Like this is one of those perfect Halloween season movies where you've got everything that you need: blood, spooky music, spooky vibes, um, girls doing things that probably aren't very PC by today's standards,
Or PG.
or PG. But at the end of the day, you also get like a really great monster battle that has kind of been hyped by the fan base, both fan bases for, well, at that point for like 20 some odd years.
And they knew, and like you're saying, they knew exactly what they were doing because you see every iconic moment you imagined would happen, and every piece of iconic imagery from both franchises is like kind of, you kind of see it pop up at some point. You see the hand, you see like
Yeah.
Machete Man in the woods doing his thing. Like it's great. They knew the market, and I appreciate it.
So as a fan, I think you're more of a Jason person than you are a Freddy
Absolutely.
person. So you wanted him to win in the fight.
Oh yeah, if that spoilers, put up my classic spoiler
Mild
alarm.
spoilers.
Um, yeah, I was. If Jason lost, I would not have liked the movie as much as I did.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. I was rooting for Jason as well. Something about this big silent killer with a hockey mask is just very charming to me.
And I thought it was interesting story wise at the beginning that they actually their explanation for how these two are interacting, the way they were, kind of made sense with like bringing in Jason's mother as like a thing in his
Yeah.
head to get Freddy into it.
Yeah, because Jason's a mama's boy.
I was your first movie having just like a weak slasher, you're just killing a bunch of people with two people plot. That was a kind of a clever way of getting it kicked off.
It was, yeah.
Like they really put thought into the lore of these characters for why it would make sense they'd be together, which I did not expect.
Yeah, I was happy to see that. Like, everything. Usually, these movies don't make a lot of sense, but this one made perfect sense. It was very simple, and it gets going pretty quickly. My only contrivance really is that it spends a little too much time on the teenagers and not as much time on Freddy and Jason.
Yeah, that's kind of an issue with it, but I feel like the big monster mash, the big fight at the end really makes up for it to me.
Yeah,
I wish it was longer. I wish that fight went a little bit longer than it did. But the
It really
final
delivers,
fight,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and I'm not even gonna waste time. Even though I know this is like film review, but I'm not even gonna waste time talking about the way this movie is shot or anything because that wasn't important to the people making it. Really, like,
Plus, it's the early 2000s, and if you've seen any like big pop culture related early 2000s film, you know exactly how this movie's colored, how it's shot, how it's acted.
yeah, they knew they were just going in to give fan service of these two characters interacting for the first time, and they did. I feel like they did a great job at delivering it. Um, People who don't like it as much, I understand they probably wanted something like, I don't know, something deeper or more serious, but I feel like it was the campiness worked.
Yeah, I didn't want anything deep from this movie, to be honest with you. I just wanted Freddy and Jason to fight, and they fought, and it was awesome. Um, it was kind of like seeing Godzilla King of the Monsters that
Yes,
came out recently.
I have the exact feeling when I went and saw that.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Freddy versus Jason.
Like, I know that's not going to win any Oscars. I don't want it to win any Oscars. I'm just going. It's because it's popcorn entertainment.
Yeah.
Like,
And I don't even like saying popcorn entertainment, but I feel like this is like one of the times where that definition fits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I don't even know. I need you to explain. I don't even know how did Freddy versus Jason happen in the first place? Because, like I said, look at me. I just didn't understand how that was a thing in reality until I saw it.
So, being a huge fan of both of these franchises, I'm like a huge nerd for all of this. So it's going to be a bit of a lengthy backstory, but so Friday the 13th came out first, and it started in 1980, and obviously it got really popular. It's kind of like how the Marvel movies are today. Is the slasher films were being pumped out by the dozen in the 80s, and eventually in 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street came out and was the first like tentpole movie for New Line Cinema. And at the time, Friday the 13th was owned by Paramount, and they kept making sequel after sequel until they got to Part 8, which is where Jason goes to New York.
Oh, I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember Jason Goes to New York.
And that movie bombed super hard. And so New Line Cinema ended up buying the Friday the 13th franchise. And their first attempt at making a Friday the 13th movie was Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell. And it was this really stupid plot where Jason is finally killed, and he turns into like this demon that possesses people. So it could be like your best friend is actually Jason and he's killing people.
Okay, that I've never watched that one. That actually sounds like it could be interesting and could work.
It's interesting, but the way that they execute it was really poor.
Oh, okay.
Because you barely see Jason at all, like in the hockey mask and everything. Like
Oh.
you see him at the beginning and at the very end,
Mm.
and throughout the entire movie, it just doesn't feel like a Friday 13th. It feels like you're watching some like really poorly done Evil Dead ripoff.
Oh no.
Yeah. But the cool part about part 9 is that at the end of the movie, Jason gets dragged down to hell by a bunch of demons, and then his mask is left behind in the dirt. And at the end credit sequence, Freddy's hand with the glove with the knives on it comes out of the ground, grabs the mask, and it cuts to black with his laughter. And fans were freaking out about that because both New Line Cinema owned both Jason and Freddy at that point. And so they were teasing the possibility that this movie could be made. Nothing happened for 10 years.
I was gonna say, and then slashers died because they were getting so ridiculous.
Exactly.
Okay.
They weren't making any money. And so Freddy vs. Jason was stuck in development hell for 10 or so years until the early 2000s when they finally got, I think it was Ronnie Yu is the director.
I think so.
Don't quote me on that. But he's a Chinese director who is used to doing big martial arts films with really ridiculous stunts and choreography. Don't know why they got him to do Freddy vs. Jason, but he did a great job.
I was gonna say, I think I understand exactly why. Someone that good at choreography, there's not a lot of choreography and fights in this movie, but the setups of the big fight and the stunt work that happens, you can tell like someone that knows what they're doing planned this out and directed it because it's really good.
Yeah, no, like the stunt work is great. Jason is the big, lumbering, strong man who can, whenever he punches a door, it splinters into pieces. And then Freddy is like this dream spirit who can do whatever he wants. So he's like doing super jumps and karate moves and regrowing limbs. It's awesome.
But yeah, I loved the ending of the movie where we see Freddy get decapitated.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then he like winks at the camera.
And then he winks at the camera, and I'm hoping that this is still recording. No, I'm hoping that.
It is. It's just the battery's almost dead.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good. I was going to wrap up soon. I was hoping we'd get a sequel. Sequel never happened. It's been another 20 years almost.
Yeah, so Robert Englund, the guy who played Freddy in Freddy vs. Jason and all the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies, except for the remake, was at DragonCon before COVID hit.
Mm.
And I went to go see him at the panel, and it was awesome because when they got to do the Q&A, a person came up and asked him if he would be interested in doing a sequel if they offered it to him. He's like, absolutely. Like he's like in his 70s and he's ready to go back whenever.
I would love to see another one, and I know it'll never happen, especially after the weird Friday the 13th reboot, and then they were gonna reboot. Or no, it wasn't Friday the 13th. Did that reboot ever even come out?
So they remade it just like they did with
It
Nightmare on Elm
did.
Street, but they were going to do a sequel to that remake, but there was like some weird lawsuit that went on with the character,
Yeah,
and the project was just dropped, unfortunately. So
yeah.
any new slasher films from those franchises is pretty much in development hell right now.
That's what I was trying to get. I wish we'd get another one because Freddy vs. Jason is great. It's a great movie. You see, it's exactly what it's titled, and it is not afraid of that. And it's campy and cheesy and early 2000s as heck. I love it. I need more of it.
If you're a fan of these movies, you definitely have to see this.
It's a good Halloween film. Watch it with your friends.
Oh yeah, get your friends together. Put it on Halloween night. You guys have a blast.
Watch Freddy vs. Jason.
Do it.
We don't have an outro for this one. We want you to watch it. It's Halloween season.
Just go watch it.
Get
what are you
spooky.
doing?
What are you doing? What are you still here for?
Get out of the chair and watch it.
Get out of here.